Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast, episode 193. I'm your host, Eric, and with me, Brad is on vacation, so I've got two guest hosts. We've got the Kierans from the Kieran Show.
Hello.
Hello. I mean, I find it really funny that Brad's ego is so big and that Bricky was busy, so they were like, oh, we need two guys to fill these shoes.
We are so far down the list.
They're just staring at the bench like, we know they'll do it. They don't need to ask.
Just put me in, coach. Just give me a chance.
We have been trying to get together another collab here, so it seemed like a good time.
No, you just want another fucking army painted. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's it. You've been ignoring our messages until now, and to be honest, the ship almost had sailed.
Can only burn me 300 more times.
We just gotta keep them on the line a little bit longer. We'll get another army painted. I know it.
18 Votan bikes coming up.
Oh God, no.
I mean, to be fair, given that we're replacing Brad, Kieran, we have a majority in this, on this board of directors. I mean, I know that, Brad hasn't granted us the rank of master to sit on the council, but we do have 2 seats. So I think our first order of business is to give Borrelio a pay rise. All in favour?
Oh.
I'm sure that'll pass.
Kieran, you didn't even say yes. You're so evil.
No, I don't.
Borrelio, I'll give you a pay rise.
I ain't being paid. Neither are you, bitch.
It's all about the exposure, right?
I've heard that, yeah.
The 3 subscribers that we get every time.
So we've got the Kierans on to talk about making our Warhammer lists better, basically fixing shitty lists.
I feel attacked.
Yeah, I think you should.
The art of writing bad Warhammer lists.
Hey, you're proficient in something.
I think I could be in a museum.
It belongs in a museum. How incredibly British of us.
Oh, no, it can't go in a museum. I've got to steal it from another country first.
Yeah, that's it. We got to. How about I steal your list and put it in a museum? That sounds more British.
Yeah, but only if you, make an ancient civilization out of it first.
I don't know. We'll see how. See what people think of your lists.
We'll have to workshop it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it needs it. Just a little TNC.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so making a Warhammer 40k list. We're in 10th edition. Things are pretty easy in comparison to previous editions. The basics are choose the points that you want, 1k, 2k, whatever. You have to have at least a warlord, so include a character that can do that. And you can't have more than 3 of any unit or 6 if it's battle line or a dedicated transport. Those are the rules. If you could do that, you could make a list.
Well, by default, you run 3 of one thing because it's cool.
So, from those very generic things, creating a list, you have to start from somewhere. Generally, it's a good idea to look at, what do you have currently so you don't have to go out and buy new things to make a list.
That's not how this hobby works. That's not how anyone makes a list. They look at the Games Workshop web store and they go, yes, I'll have one of those.
No, it's 3 of those, and it's you. You're the problem.
Redemptor Dreadnoughts, I'll have 3.
You're why they've written this rule.
Yeah. There definitely is a point where you put together a list based on your collection and then you're oh, I kind of also want to have this model. And so yeah, you go out and buy it. But start from what you have, I think is a good starting point.
I mean, it's good financial advice.
Yeah. But then you have to actually if you have a larger collection, kind of narrow it down. So you can either go for a theme, specifically an example being Orcs has multiple prongs of their army. So they've got the junkyard mechanical stuff, the squigs, just a green tide boys spam kind of thing. So pick your theme there, or you could even pick your theme based on a detachment. The other option being you could just pick a really cool model that you decided to go out and buy 3 of and then build the list all around it.
Redemptor Dreadnoughts in this case.
Now we're into the meat and potatoes of this.
Your poor wife.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I start a list. I go, yes, what thing do I like the look of? The rest will work. And then 6 months later, I go, my list doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely are some models that Castellan robots need to have a list kind of built around them if that's what you really are enjoying, because they need support, specifically in some older rule sets. No, it's not too bad. But how competitive do you want the list to actually be? As we're going through this episode, we're taking the assumption that you want to make your list more competitive to have a better chance of winning. You can always just build the fluffiest, funnest, dumbest most meme list ever. Play it, have a bunch of fun, and that's great. Don't worry about it. You don't need to change anything. But if you did want to change things to make it better and have a better chance of winning, we have some examples and ideas for you to listen to and hopefully rank up.
I mean, if anybody is familiar with the Harry Potter films, I'm going to bring my homework to the class and Kieran's going to go, see you in school.
What a deep cut.
You and I both know the deep cut Harry Potter references are where I shine. We'll be just sat there and I'll come out with these one-liners and I can see your minds like, what film's that from?
A+. Congratulations, you passed. I also think when it comes to fluffy lists, I think even if you took like the biggest, dumbest list in the world, so long as you are using the models and units you have as what they're supposed to do, I think it's not always a bad time either. So there is that.
Definitely. Each unit can have a purpose, or like this is what that unit's best at, and figuring those out and actually using them tactically in gameplay is definitely a good idea.
The interesting bits I always enjoy reading for like other people's lists. So obviously, like there's some obvious ones, like you're not going to sit on your home objective with Blade Guard and charge infiltrators like at people that for melee combat. Like some of them have an obvious purpose, but then like I'll see stuff online like in bat reps or I'll play a game and some people will use these things for like purposes you didn't know they had, and I'm a bit like, is this why I'm bad at the game? Can I not see the numbers? Do I know not what they mean?
Yeah, there definitely are good resources out there to look at like some of battle reports and like learn new tricks, because there are switch hitter units out there that like they can do other things, but like you look at it immediately and you're like, yeah, it probably is just an action monkey or whatever, and then you start using them as screening or whatever it is. But a lot of that also is like board dependent.
Yeah,
as you're playing a different opponent, the board's unveiling itself, and like this is how the strategy of this particular game is set up, so that unit needs to fill a role that like it wasn't originally put in the list for, maybe, but like it's gonna do that job great in this specific example.
I think it's interesting when you say open the board up as well. I think as GW have created obviously the worst footprint for a game now. If you love L's, sometimes there's not much unveiling to happen.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like, okay, the footprint's not the most imaginative, but some of the terrain that people have come out with to fit in that like footprint for terrain, like who pissed in your cornflakes when you were as a kid and like just sucked out your imagination? You're like, oh yeah, I know what sells grimdark, a giant yellow fluorescent L wall, or a really, really green tree that just sits in the middle and looks like something out of a Puffin book or something.
This won't break my immersion.
Yeah.
I mean, just a word on terrain. Nothing pisses me off more. I'll spend hours and hours laboring over like these models and like they cost all this money. And then you rock up to a table and you look like you're playing Hasbro or like something like that just doesn't match. I need the immersion.
Honestly, terrain can make things feel a lot better, but sometimes it's less important than making the new models.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know that when the Emperor left Terra to go on the Great Crusade, what he was actually crusading for was just shit bits of MDF.
That sounds right, actually. Yeah, I think I read that book.
Yeah, that was one of the 100 Horus Heresy books, and I remember that one.
I'm pretty sure some of those Horus Heresy books are just filled with the same stuff that MDF is made out of at this point.
So when we've got like a list to start with, we want to actually like refine it. Generally, you find that you played it didn't work. You want to make it better. So like, how do you actually do that part? There's an initial thing to ask yourself. If you built a fluffy, thematic, whatever list, what's sacred in it that you don't want to remove no matter how much it's going to make the list better?
Blade Guard.
I was literally going to say, what's your sacred unit? Of course it's Blade Guard.
They're cool.
How many Blade Guard do you think you have? Like painted or unpainted? I don't care.
Painted, 3. Unpainted, 12.
That 12 is crazy.
12 units?
I had more when I had a Dark Angels army. In my lifetime, I've painted 9 Blade Guard, but currently painted in across all of my Space Marine armies. My favourite unit is Blade Guard, and I only have 3.
I mean, just knowing that you have 12 sat in reserve It's genuinely horrendous to me.
Bitch, that's not even the worst. I've got 4 chaplains on bike.
Oh, you have a sickness. Oh no, it's the Terminators, which is the worst one, isn't it? Terminators is the worst one, especially with the new box. What's the total up to now?
I want to say 25 normal Terminators and now 10 assault Terminators.
You are broken.
I just want to refer back to you can have no more than 3 of any particular unit. 6 unless it's a battle line type thing.
Well, yeah, but you can take Terminators in like bricks of 10, so you can run 30 Terminators, and that sounds like a cool guy.
I'm with you.
I think you might have missed. You have more than that.
I mean, well, to be fair, that's normal Terminators. I have non-normal Terminators as well.
No, that's where the difference was. Of course.
Right. Obviously.
How silly of us.
I've got 20 Wolfguard Terminators for my Space Wolves.
Absolute disaster.
So once you've figured out what you're honestly just never going to remove it from a list, that's fine, so long as you understand what that might mean. But even then, you want to figure out what that unit is actually doing in the game. What's its purpose in the list? Is it just trying to do secondaries or just an action monkey? Is it sitting on the back point just looking pretty because you painted them nice? Figure out where it fits in the list and own it, kind of thing. Accept that that's its spot in the list. You don't need to double up with other things trying to do it as well.
I think that's the bit in list writing I struggle with the most, as we see when we get into a couple of my lists later on in this. I can't answer those questions. Whereas I know that Kieran can.
Yeah, what's crazy is that you have asked, I've told you, you've ignored them and gone, maybe it's the models that are wrong.
Because you said it, that's why. It's because you said it.
Is it me that is out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Right. So it can be difficult to look at a list or, even just units and figure out, oh, this is what that unit's doing. This is its job. Its job is to be, screening unit, or it's only just going to be supporting these other units. It can be sometimes difficult to really nail that down, especially if you're not really thinking about it because you're just building a list that sounds fun or looks cool. When you put models on the board, ooh, that looks like a fun army to play, but you haven't actually thought and really thought about what those units are doing in the list. What's the point? What's the original game plan? Because once you start playing, things are gonna potentially alter your game plan because your opponent's trying to win as well. But the original at deployment, here's my goal for these units. Here's how they're going to play.
I think sometimes it's hard as well because you could find multiple units that you do really like or you want to incorporate and they're your sort of mainstays. But a lot of the case in 40k, a lot of those units do the same job as well. So you have to look at unit versatility, what's it doing, who's doing it, the best, and do you even need that insurance of multiple units, or can one unit do it? And sometimes it is a bit of a sacrifice, in some lists, I'll run specific units just because I kind of want to. Do they have a job? No, they're just kind of there because it's fun and I like it. I don't know. There are some units that can do lots of different things, your sort of legionaries, your intercessors, whatever. But then you've got things like cultists, crew, whatever. They can do a couple of things kind of well, but outside of that, they're just absolutely rubbish. So it's important not to double down. So
I'm a visual learner. When you say secondary guys, secondary and action monkeys, give me a unit, what fits that bill?
Cultists, assault intercessors with jump pack, jump pack troops, to be fair, are great for that because you can bring them on from reserve from turn 2 and obviously anywhere in the board. Action monkeys, another really great one that we've seen loads in this edition. Zangors, for example, they can zip in and zip out, for example.
The uppy downies.
That's it, uppy downy. Well, that's not the official term, but everybody knows it.
Yeah,
uppy downy.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
That's what they wrote in that book.
Playing Grey Knights, that's what I know it as. It's the uppy downy.
Yeah, that's it. Stuff like that is great. And I think sometimes it's about building a screen where you're either penning them into their home objective, penning them to the mid board, or luring them in so you can do your uppy downy tricks and stuff with your, let's say, Zangor unit onto the opponent's home objective, and suddenly you're capturing all 4 quarters. So that's, a summary in secondaries.
So are there other types of purposes for a unit, or is it just secondary monkey? Are there other purposes for units, or is it just these are my main guys and these are the secondary ones?
So you can always break it down even further granularly into way deep weeds, but let's try and keep it a little high level. You've also got, in a similar kind of vein, the back point, your home objective dudes that are just camping out there to make sure that you control your home objective. One of the big ones I like there is Grots, because they're also all potentially getting you command points.
Yeah, that's a great one.
They're the ones that are just shouting, get off my lawn kind of thing.
Yeah, they generally want to be cheap. Just sit there and do the thing that you want to make sure that you own your home objective. That's like, if you don't do that, it's probably not going well for you. Then you've got the like mid-board control. So like these would be like your bruisers or potentially like an anchor, depending on if you want them to be killy or just super annoying and never die. Think like full blocks of Terminators.
Yeah, now we're talking.
They own that area.
So 20 of them is what I'm hearing.
Also, you mentioned earlier as well, the Castellan robots are also a really good bet for that. Toughness 9, 2 up, 5 up. Give them a data smith for a feel no pain as well. It's like horrible to try and shift. Yeah, something big and tanky.
One of the big things there is you generally don't want like your big monster that isn't actually that resilient if they focus fire, because then it's essentially just a distraction Carnifex that's going to get focus fired and killed kind of thing.
I think it's interesting as well in this edition, like when you've got so many units that can sort of have things like dev wounds and lethal hits, it's just that sheer weight of fire, but also like having access of ignoring an entire dice roll phase is massive. And I think the probability of you losing those slightly larger units, like it's never really happened before. And I think suddenly like vehicles are maybe a little less viable, but again, it depends on how many you take. I'm sure we'll probably touch on it a little bit later, but you mentioned that sort of like distraction Carnifex, that distraction Carnifex model, and also like abiding by the rule of 3 as well. I think where you could double down and have all 3, I've found strength in having 2 of each unit instead, because it makes it a little bit more of a toolbox army that can do multiple things. But yeah, we'll touch on that a bit later.
Yeah, you can also, for this mid-board control thing, technically you can just sheer waves of units. So like just a shitload of guard infantry can fill the role of a mid-board anchor, just because the opponent needs to chew through so much and they have so much OC that like you'll control that board. You're not going to do shit to the enemy, but you're controlling that mid-board anyways.
Was it the guard list that won? Was it LVO or LGT? I can't remember which one, where they had like something stupid amount of guard infantry. I think it was that.
Yeah, it can be a very strong strategy. It's just sometimes not the most fun to play, and it's definitely can get annoying to play against if you do it constantly. So be aware of those caveats as well.
Try and remember this is a game.
Right.
Please.
Yes, do try to remember that this is about having fun. We are trying to give you tips on making better lists, but yeah, still fun is the objective.
I also don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but just try and imagine that guy that won LVO, whatever it was, painting 250 odd guardsmen, because I guarantee he wasn't having fun.
Imagine that movement phase. Like, Kieran, you played against a Krieg army that was very similar at an event, do you remember? And like, you were just there like, I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee. Just, here's my number, text me, I'll be back in a bit.
When you have that many minis and you're asking your opponent, obviously like it's nice, but when you're asking your opponent, like, do you mind if I do this? Or I'm going to ask for, you know, if you know what these things do. At that point, I just check out. I'm like, there's so much going on the table. Please just do what you want. I just don't care.
You can get like movement trays to make things a little bit easier, but like at a certain point, just know that like you can, instead of just having like a big block of Terminators and, you know, high toughness, reanimating type stuff sitting in midboard, you can also just use waves of infantry to lock them up type thing. Similar idea, just one will probably hit the enemy back and the other one probably won't. We've also got some type of fast response. So think bikes. Oh, I need to deal with the enemy doing something over there. Quickly move.
Yeah, I think bikes are also like a really good action monkey as well, to be fair. Like they're a really versatile piece.
Yeah.
And I think they're like criminally underutilized. I know that I've been running bikes for like Chaos Space Marines especially for a long time. And I think whenever I'm fielding them, people are like, why? And yeah, it's just those sweet action monkeys.
I mean, it doesn't help when we live in a world where the Outrider kit is so monopose and the only other bike style unit you've got is the fucking Primaris ATV. No one's going to run bikes and have fun with that, apart from that one guy that's maxing.
Yeah, a lot of Space Marine bikes. Not so my style, but there is definitely a lot of overlap between like the fast response and, you know, your secondary action monkeys, because they're trying to do like get to other parts of the board, do a thing quickly. Generally, you'll also have some amount of anti-tank, anti-character, anti-chaff. Like you have to be able to solve your opponent's units in some way, and knowing which of your units are supposed to do which of those jobs jobs so you can like properly deploy them, move them into the areas that they'll actually be able to use their weapons. You don't really need anti-tank on the side of a board that just has a bunch of infantry when the other side has tanks. But it is good to have the ability to deal with those things in a list. Those were like my main core ideas that you need to have in a list. Did you have anything else to bring up?
I think it's pretty sweet, to be fair. I think the main thing to understand is that if you're trying to balance any sort of list, like just ensuring that you are catering to nearly all of those, I think is really important. I think there are some rare examples where you can probably double down on a few of those and like maybe focus on a couple rather than all of them. And I think depending on how well your units can either, well, score really, because at the end of the day, like you might not kill a million things, but if you outscore the opposition, like you win by default. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting mix.
Yeah, I mean, on that, there is some amount of like figuring out what your list's strengths are versus what their like weaknesses could be. And sometimes it's better to just focus on the strengths and understand that like you will have some holes that, you know, maybe you don't have great anti-tank and like that's just the list just doesn't have that. So you can focus more on mobility and secondary action monkeys to like just get the scoring, focus on that aspect. But, you know, there are trade-offs when you're focusing on strengths but ignoring weaknesses. Sometimes it's better to actually properly shore up those weaknesses and have a better list overall.
I mean, it's been nearly a whole edition and I'm still insistent that plasma is anti-tank, and then every time I try and do it, I get proven wrong.
I swear, you just look at the numbers, you look at the keywords and go, no, this will work.
Yeah, I'm just like, 9 plasma inceptors. I can kill a Baneblade in one turn, drops them out the sky, barely kills like a brick of Terminated, and then go, oh, maybe they're not anti-tank.
Yeah. So like those are like our general ideas there. Let's look at some like examples to actually show what the hell we're talking about here.
Nice.
In these examples, remember that like this is just the general ideas and process of how to create these lists. Like rules and specifically points change a lot. So like the exact lists aren't as important as like the idea of what we're doing. And again, it's fine to play unoptimized lists if you're having fun. That's okay. Don't feel bad. We're not telling you to change shit if you're having fun.
Kieran.
Let's start with a simple example of what if you are getting into Chaos Space Marines, you manage to pick up the new battle force that's coming out, and you've got 2 combat patrols. So like you've got a couple of the intro boxes essentially to start your army. That gives us a Lord Disco and Hellstalker, 2 Masters of Possession, 2 units of Cultist Mobs, 3 of the Legionaries, a group of Havocs, 2 Obliterators, 2 groups of Possessed, a Venom Crawler, and a Chaos Rhino. So it's not enough to do a full 2K list. I think it's somewhere around 15 to 1700 points.
It's a lot of points, which is good. I think the thing you'll find before you put anything on the table is that you've invested so much time in painting Trin. So they may come down in points by the time they're finished.
I mean, you could also send your Chaos Space Marine armies out to some chumps to paint as well. I know some guys that did that.
That is a really good idea. We should keep that in mind.
Okay, but how would you make a list out of, so like I'm little Timmy or like little Tabitha or whatever, like on Christmas Day.
Just little Kieran. We'll stick with little Kieran.
Or just little Kieran, fine. I've got the joy of being given a battle force and 2 combat patrols. Like, how do I make a list out of it? How do I do it?
I think, truthfully, like understanding what each thing does is like a really strong position. I think when you're blinded by that many options, but also like the sheer weight, like having 30 legionaries like seems really good on paper, but legionaries are a really funny one. I think considering 5 of them cost 90 points, like it's quite a heavy investment for what they can do. So legionaries, for example, you get like reroll wounds against enemies on objectives and stuff, so that's pretty good. They're like a real toolbox unit as well, so you can equip them, you know, with melters, plasmas, whatever, as far as like 1 heavy bit of weaponry per 5, but it's exactly the same for melee as well, so you can really do a lot with that. But they do drop in points slightly, so it's 170 points for 10, but I think they're best optimized in units of 5. So with that, I think I'd probably start with 5 legionaries, and that seems super low considering you've got 30, but in a 1,000 point list, we're gonna probably go a little bit of a different route with this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those, if you have like 15 to 1700 points and you want to make a 1K list, there's going to be several units that are going to remain on the shelf. That's just how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in a 1K list, like if you are doing those sort of like demo games or trialing it with like friends and stuff, like people are going to want to take the things that they really enjoy, but also there's going to be a bit of a mix. So you should really match that. So starting from the top, obviously you've got the Lord Discordant on Hellstalker. It's such a sick mini, and it would be a real shame not to include it. I understand it's quite a heavy toll for a 1,000 point list, really, with all the characters. So you've got a Lord Discordant, which is 160 point, and a Master of Possession, which is 60. So suddenly you've got about a quarter, which is normally like a pretty good mix. But the Lord Discordant is like an out-and-out vehicle killer. So let's say you've got a friend like Kieran that wants to take 1,000,000 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Suddenly the Lord Discordant's got something to aim for. And then you've got the Master of Possession. You could run 2 of these for each unit of Possessed, but to be honest, like you don't have to. Sometimes I think having that split option is always better. So the Master of Possession just makes the Possessed more speedy. So I think it's like +1 to advance and +1 to charge. And then you've got the 2 units of 5 Possessed, which have got damage 2 with like Dev Wounds as well. So they're like your anti-infantry, anti-elite kind of killers. So I think they're really, really great. And because of, especially with 40k, like speed is such like an important element to the game. And considering these are like boots on the ground, going to be running up with the Lord Discordant, with the Venom Crawler actually, which we'll probably mention next. Suddenly you've got the quite scary Brick running up the center of the board. Venom Crawlers are really nice because they're quite cheap, and they've got like a nice like anti-infantry damage 2 gun as well. And they've got 2 of them on either side of the Venom Crawler, of course.
And they're like pretty fast too. Like it's what, 12 inch?
Yeah, 12-inch move. So toughness 9 as well, with 9 wounds. Yeah, 3 up save, but a 5 up invul. And because of its Solar Eater ability as well, if you kill an enemy unit, you get +1 attacks to the weapons, and that's to the end of the battle. So suddenly your Excruciator cannons go from 6 attacks to 7. So that's 14 shots. Venom Crawlers are like insane. It's a real shame it's a monopose kit because they're such a good versatile unit. And then on top of that, I'd probably take the Obliterators. I don't like Obliterators as models.
Oh, you're crazy.
They're not.
You're crazy.
I know, they're not my thing. I just don't vibe with them that much. But the really nice thing with Obliterators is that they've obviously got like a bit of varied like damage. So you can either go like anti-elite or anti-vehicle in some respect. I think it's like strength 10, damage 4. I might have got that wrong. But they've got deep strike and indirect fire. So because of all the sheer amount of L's in 40k at the moment, you could deep strike in the middle of the board or on the back of the home objective or whatever, and you don't even have to see them. And suddenly you're hitting something with damage 4, and it's just oppressive. And they're not super tough to get rid of. I think their points are costed quite high for what they are.
At the moment, I would agree, but
yeah,
it's not that, like, they're not that crazy. There definitely are some models that exist at the current points that you're just like, no, that doesn't make any sense. There's no way you're making back a positive return on your investment point-wise in any game.
Exactly. And I think what's nice with the Obliterators is just it gives something to focus on. I think anybody that's playing against Obliterators know that it's a pretty dodgy investment. I think 2 of those for 160 points is heavy. So if you've got your Lord Discordant, your 11-man Brick of Possessed and Master of Possession, and your Venom Crawler running up the center, it's gonna soften stuff up. So to have Obliterators jump down from deep strike and almost just put the nail in the coffin is pretty ruthless. Whether they're dropping the killing blow or just softening up the opponent, I do think they are a really good unit. I just don't agree with the points. However, in this list build up, because you're already ticking so many other boxes, it's a really good utility unit. Speaking of utility, I mentioned before that it would be like the 5 legionaries, which seems low, but I'm doing 2 bricks of 10 cultists, and I know Kieran's going to hate that. I know he hates cultists so much.
I hate the peoples.
The peoples are bad, but cultists are absolutely brilliant, because you've got, instead of paying 5-man brick of legionaries for 90 points, you can have a 10-man brick of cultists for 50 points, and they're not good in the, can I kill something, will I die sense.
Oh yeah, they're not good.
No. So obviously they can do things like dark packs and stuff, like in keeping with the army rule, but obviously with that sticky objective, it's huge. So you've got all of these, like, it's not necessarily like a Death Star unit, but you've got all of these totally mixed models running up the board and killing whatever they can or whatever. And you've got these cultists either at the back or running up the board, doing objectives, but also like distracting. So if you spent your entirety of your 1k game against this opponent and you're going, I need to kill the Lord Discordant, these Possessed are giving me a headache, the Venom Crawler, the Obliterators, and you ignore the cultists, suddenly they've outscored you and they don't even have to stay on the same objective. And I think the Legionaries they almost become a little bit redundant at that point, which is always interesting. But I think Legionaries really shine in a 2,000 point list rather than a 1,000 point list.
I think because, like you said originally, like the Legionaries do a decent job of like kind of doing everything potentially, sort of in a weird way. Like they've got options, and that can be great, but that really shines more on larger games where you have more more points, and you have to play against an enemy that has more options as well. So you're going to have to respond more kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, this list seems cool to me because like I think obliterators are awesome and the venom crawler is really cool. But like it does also kind of do all the things that you like. It kind of checks boxes of what we were saying earlier. Especially the cultists do a great job of like
boring your opponent to tears.
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? And I think it's probably like the crux of the argument. It's boring your opponent to tears, but they're also winning. So I've been playing Tau for this edition. Boo. So Kieran, I know, absolutely hates Kroot, but for me, like, it's similar to the cultists. Like, they do a job, they do it really well. So why would I leave them at home?
I mean, I wish you would just leave your breaches at home for once. You've proven countless times that they don't work. The amount of games we've played, you're like, I'm going to put them in a devilfish. They're going to pop out. They're going to shoot their shotguns. They're going to kill all these things. All that happens is they get out the devilfish, they shoot a load of BB guns at a target, go, it didn't die, and then they have to get back in.
What I've really loved playing Breaches is that if I play against anybody else, they do really well. But because so Kieran will save CP, I swear, to do the -1 AP. So suddenly you're just like saving on base saves, and I'm like, well, their entire thing's been ruined. Now they're just rubbish.
That sounds like good tactical advantage from your opponent.
Yeah, fear the mighty Breaches.
It's inspired by hate as well, which isn't, he's learning. Maybe he is a Chaos player.
Yeah, right. So like on this list, there is some idea of like what to look for next in models of like, I want to be able to get a 2K list. We don't have 2,000 points of models from the, combo boxes, but like if we were to put that in a 2K list, what are we kind of missing?
To be honest, I think it's missing more kind of high damage dealers. Like you can see from everything we've used so far through the 3 boxes that we've got, the only things left over are 25 legionaries, Havocs and a Rhino. So suddenly it's about optimizing that. And you could go, equip all of your legionaries with things like autocannons or las cannons or melter guns or however the hell you want to do it, because obviously they're those utility units. But I think what's probably going to be better is equipping things like, so with your Havocs, for example, you could do like a 4-man las cannon brick with the champion. That's obviously going to be like a pretty heavy damage dealer. And then with your legionaries, this is where you start to incorporate them in a 2K list. So I think adding an extra 15, so not taking the full 30 again, but an extra 15 of those legionaries. So suddenly you've got 20 cultists and 20 legionaries. So the nice thing with that is obviously the cultists' job haven't changed, but the legionaries now have a purpose. You've got those utility blobs, so you can have them either with flamers or plasmas, whatever, or even have like multiple close combat units just running around and just irritating the opponent, locking things up so they can't escape and then outscoring them or winning. But what is nice with the legionaries is, let's say a 10-man blob is a great man, is a great place for is a Chaos Lord. So Chaos Lords are like, I think are probably one of the best characters in the Chaos Space Marine roster, and it's because you can kit them out with literally whatever you want. So whether it's like enhancements or different weapon loadouts or whatever, and the majority of the strats and abilities you get for each detachment really do favor those unnamed characters to make the heroes you want to make, which is great. And also they've got the ability of spending like 0 CP on a strat, so reducing it from 1 to 0, which is fab. I also think, again, going back to that damage dealing, Forge Fiends are, I think, in a really weird position this edition, but I do think they are very, very good. So I think a couple of Forge Fiends aren't going to be a miss. I think at 180 points each, they are pretty worth it. And especially if you sit them with a 5-man group of Havocs, your 2 Obliterators, your Venom Crawler, whatever, like suddenly you've got quite a thick list when it comes to those demon engines and what they can do, which is good. You've obviously got one of the Rhinos. I'd probably look at adding another one as well. Whether you're adding, a 5-man legionary unit or the 10-man with your Chaos Lord, I think they're really great. And even still, like if you were to cart, let's say, units up to the center of the board, and they jump out, they score, they start killing stuff or whatever, you've suddenly got 2 party buses that you can just throw at people. So tank shock's a thing. So that's like probably my most spent command point, I think, this edition is just throwing vehicles at things, especially when it's like
so boring though.
When it's a humble Rhino or a Devilfish, there's nothing funnier than just being like Leroy Jenkins and just flinging a cart across the board. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, and then as far as like that last utility unit, I think this is like a total can if you want to, don't have to. But if you wanted to run like a larger blob of cultists, so like a 20-man blob, so it's like not only got that sticky key objective, but that massive like screen, you could always add like a dark commune. So they're not like the most cool whatever unit in the CSM roster. Like they're pretty like one trick pony. But with the I think it's the cult demagogue, suddenly you've got a 20-man cultist blob with a 5-up invul save, and suddenly you've got this huge meat shield that's really hard to shift. And considering their normal save I think is a 6-up, it turns them into a bit of a problem.
To be fair, I think all that's nonsense. I know what this list is missing. It's missing 3 Khorne Lord of Skulls.
Oh, there it is.
That's a good idea, I'm sure.
That's a big gold star for you, sir.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, like, that's a good example of like trying to build a nice rounded list from, a starting collection kind of thing. But we can do a little bit better than just theory crafting little Kieran's Christmas Day. What about Kieran's actual lists?
Let's ruin his actual day, not Christmas.
So you've got a couple lists here. Let's start with the Blood Angels list. Take a look at what you got and like figure out a little bit of what we can do to make it potentially a little bit better.
Okay, so for show and tell in today's school, I present my Blood Angels Death Company army. This was 2,000 points once upon a time, but as we've already mentioned, Warhammer 40,000 points are transient and ephemeral, and nobody really understands what they are. So this was the list I was running. I mean, it's mad fun. It's really fluffy, but the wheels kept coming off it really quick. So I just stopped playing it, but I still really like it. So in terms of characters, I was running Astarath, a Death Company captain with a jump pack, Lamates, and the Sanguinor. Now, my logic behind the Sanguinor is it comes out deep strike fight first, auto take for me, but I don't know what I'm talking about, so maybe it's not. And then Lamates and Astarath, lethal hits and deadly wounds to the squad. They're giving an Astarath gives a 4-up fight on death, which, when the wheels start coming off the rest of this list, seems to work. So for battle line, I was running 3 5-man squads of Death Company Marines and was permanently hoisted by the fact that they have to stay within X amount of inches of a chaplain, otherwise they physically can't hold things. So I was kind of always writing off my home objective with these. The way I was originally playing it was that these guys would hold it at the start, and then when things start to push up, they lose their OC and they have to then wander off to find the light of a chaplain further up the board.
Interesting idea.
Yeah, my home objective holder could hold it for my turn that I can't score, and then they walk off it.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Continue.
Then we've got the Budget Ballistus, which is the Death Company Dreadnought. So this was essentially just a ballistus that if you shot at it, it walks towards you, which I've actually found, although it's really cool and like it sounds like a great idea that you're getting free movement, it's kind of like we mentioned before, it's a distraction kind of effects that people go, I'm going to kill that. So I go, cool, I move towards you, but then it dies anyway. I think it actually, the worst that ever happened for me is I was playing this list against an Imperial Guard list, and most of the guns were out of range of it, but only just. And so the guy I was playing, he shot at the Death Company Dreadnought with the only gun that was in range. He managed to hit, and it took a couple of wounds off. But because the Death Company Dreadnought was hit, I then get to make the Blood Surge move equivalent, and I think I rolled a 6 on it. So I moved 6 inches nearer, and then all the other guns were in range, and then it just killed it. So like you can bait it out, and it's really, really irritating.
I'm not sure that's necessarily a problem with the unit so much as how it was used in that particular encounter.
That's it. Also, did you call it a ballistus?
Budget Brutalis.
Nice.
And then for the rest of the list, it's the meat and potatoes. It's 30 Death Company Marines with jump packs. These currently rocking at 230 points per 10. So I was running 30 of them, all with Viscerators and all manner of other gubbins inside them. And then the bit that Kieran finds the most hilarious is this was what I deemed as the anti-tank, and it was 3 squads of 3 Inceptors with Plasma Exterminators.
What's funny as well is I think the Inceptors are fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with them as a unit. It was just the fact that you were so hell-bent that they were anti-tank. I was like, no.
They were the only equivalent. The only other set of anti-tank.
Just because you're manifesting it doesn't make it real.
I mean, they nearly killed the Murderfang. Like, that's pretty anti-tanky for me. But the only other anti-tank that was in this list, hilarious. When you run Lamarte's obviously in a squad, he gives out lethal hits, and there's a strat in the detachment, the Lost Brethren, where you can pop one extra strength attack and a bunch of other gubbins, and then it kind of becomes a bit more anti-tank. But the trouble is, you start killing those brick of 10 jump pack Marines, and it all just falls over. The issues I've had with this list is people will rock up to the table and like, wow, that's 30 jump pack Marines. That's a lot. How am I going to deal with this? And then they start to deal with it, and they go, okay.
Just jumping straight in, I think the theme is really cool. And I've said that since day one. I think the Death Company Marines with jump packs, like having 33 models that can just completely like run up the board, I think is really wicked, especially considering what each of the characters gives. So you mentioned Lamarte's gives lethal, so that's suddenly you're dealing with maybe more elite opponents, dare I say, even some tanks, because I think in this detachment as well, you're getting rerolls for days. Is that right?
Yeah, and what's also slightly frustrating is with the detachment rule, you get better the more you die.
Yeah, I hate this detachment rule.
Yeah, when you lose one model, I think you can reroll wound rolls of 1, and then if I remember correctly, when you're below half strength, you flat reroll the wound.
So that probably explains why the units of 10 are so expensive, right?
Yeah, you lose one Death Company Marine at 2 wounds, you've then got reroll 1s to wound across 9 other Marines and a character, and if it's got Lamarte's in it, it's the Sanguinor. It's not Sanguinor, it's Lamarte's, it's lethal hits, but if it's Astarath, you get devastating wounds on the charge. So again, I know why they're priced the way they are. It's
a lot of points to pack into a theme, but at the same time, I still think it's really cool. You're probably spending just north of 1,000 points on those 3 units, which is quite heavy. Your Sanguinor, obviously, you can't leave home without him. I think given that this is a close combat army, I think it's like pretty imperative. So I think that main brick, so like the theme, I think is solid. The Death Company Marines, I don't get. I think considering they need to be within range of a chaplain to do anything, but you've already got so much in the middle fighting, I don't know why I would take 15. I think there are loads of units within the Space Marine army roster that you could incorporate instead. So whether you had a vehicle sat on your home objective, just sat there doing long range fire, or you had your really cheap chaff units for Blood Angels or whatever, I'm not sure, maybe spitball some ideas at me, even if it's just like intercessors or scouts or something, I don't know, just sat instead. But currently you're spending, what's that, 240 points, give or take, on battle line units that can't do anything unless they're up the board, and they're not as fast as the things they need to be with, which is a real issue. So you could either double down, and put them in drop pods or put them in transports. But considering what they do, I don't think it's worth the points.
So you drop all 15 of them, essentially?
Yeah, probably. I think because they're so expensive, we're going to like maybe move those points into other avenues. I think if you consider, obviously your Death Company Dreadnought, I still think is good. I think the trouble it is a distraction unit and it will just be shot. And I think that because it will just be shot and it will just die, suddenly the only thing left to shoot that is a threat is your main blob of Death Company Marines that you need. It's imperative they survive, or at least, kill 1 or 2.
Well, and even then, like the Dreadnought gives them like the idea of like focus firing.
Yes.
And like setting up their board to focus fire a thing. And then they turn all of that shit to each of the units of Death Company, and it like fully clear one unit, then focus fire the next. So like, yeah, from an idea from the opponent's emotions of I want to kill that, and then I'm going to turn all my guns onto these things.
Exactly. And I think what's nice with the Death Company Dreadnought as well is that like it's pretty good in combat, but also it's got like the heavy stubber, but mainly the twin multi-melter. So like you have got an element of anti-tank in there. Like it's not, melters aren't phenomenal as they used to be, but having a twin multi-melter in there is great. And I think if you consider you ditch 10 Death Company Marines and you get another Death Company Dreadnought and 10 points spare, that's pretty massive. So you're just trading off 2 units that aren't being utilized, and suddenly your Distraction Carnifex has a friend, and now there's not one of them to look at, there's 2. I think that's like a really nice way of utilizing that. And then you could, let's say, obviously you've painted all these lovely new models, they look really great, whatever. So your 5 Deathman Company Marine, just use it as like an assault intercessor squad, just keep it on the back. I think considering it's got chainsword and bolt pistol, you don't need to change it, you don't need to buy anything else, just keep it as is, but run them as assault intercessors instead. I'm not sure what the points difference is, but I'm not sure it's going to be that different.
I think it's 5 or 10 points or something like that. But hey, 5 or 10 points here and there on that aspect of like, it's just doing the same job as good or potentially better, and you're saving a few points.
Exactly.
That's how we make lists slightly better.
Yeah, so now suddenly you're only spending 85 points or 90 points or whatever on your home objective, so that's catered for. And now you've got a 35-man brick, including 33 Death Company Marines with jump packs running and killing anything in their sight, along with 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts with multi-melters as well. So suddenly it's a lot more intimidating, and you have to really understand what you have to kill in the first turn, because in turn 2 they are going to be in your face, all 5 units, which then leaves, which I find really interesting, the last 3, which is obviously your Inceptors. I think they are very nice considering what they are. I think you can deep strike onto opposing units' objectives, onto their home objective, whatever. And Plasma, I think, is good against chaff, and like, I'll be honest, it's good at killing Space Marines. Anything that's sort of like damage 2, I think is really solid, but it's a big investment for only 3 models.
That can kill themselves as well, let's be real.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Plasma's a weird one in this edition. But again, you've got 120, so what's that, 240, 360 points. What's another unit in the Space Marine roster that you think could be better utilized with 360 points?
I mean, a Repulsive Executioner is hovering around 200 odd. I think it's 210 at the moment. Same with the Land Raider. Gladiator Lancers are 150 each, so I guess I could probably take 2 it's not Blood Angels though, but I could take 2 Gladiator Lancers and have 2 Laser Destructors.
Okay, well, I mean, like, again, it's like a really nice idea. So what's the detachment rule giving you again, sorry?
Death Company units get reroll once to wound when they're below starting strength, and then reroll the whole wound roll when they're below half strength. So the tanks and anything non-Death Company doesn't get it. I can hear you in the comments already. I know that the other Blood Angels detachments are better. It's just this one fitted the theme.
Yeah, well, if we're running with a theme, I know that I've said this a million times, but how many Bell Predators can you take?
But why would you take a Bile Predator? They're not good.
Why not?
I don't think they're as good as a Gladiator Lancer or a Repulsive Executioner. There's no anti-tank on them.
But you said that your main issue was theme.
Well, it's theme and playability. I think I need a balance between the two.
Right, I'm going to go have a look. So Bile Predators, movement 12, toughness 10, 3 up, 11 wounds. So like your basic sort of like chassis Predator model. So you've got your twin assault cannons. So it's not phenomenal, but you've also got dev wounds on your twin assault cannon. I don't know. It's not awful. I suppose if theme is your, prerogative, then that's how I'd probably play it. But you are probably right. I think taking 2 tanks makes a little bit more sense. I think given the damage output you can get for that many points, I mean, it's an easy way up, isn't it? Would you rather take 2 tanks that are going to be super difficult to kill or 9 Inceptors?
I do think that there is some consideration about the Inceptors having like the deep strike, because like right now without any of those, like where's your actual like action monkey secondary objective?
That's true.
Happening?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like you have a giant brick that's moving forward and killing shit. I love that. Super here for it. But what's the rest?
Kieran, in your last event, is that how you used them?
Which ones? The last game I played with Inceptors, I dropped them into the mid board onto an objective. They did actions in the middle, held the objectives, and they were just in range of things so they could shoot at stuff, because obviously they've got the funky...
Yeah, you had this unstoppable tide of death, and then suddenly you just had 9 units that dropped onto all 3 middle objectives, did actions, did scoring, and suddenly you're winning the game, right?
Yeah, but in this scenario, the last game I played with it, I got a bit fed up of running and losing, and I think at the time I worked out that I could take out all of the Death Company Marines and take a knight, and that's what I did, and it sat at the back.
It's crazy.
Funny, and like I guess that is potentially on the idea, but like I think the real, like going back to the original statement of this list is super fun, but I got fed up with playing it because it kept doing so bad, is like, let's really figure out how to keep that original idea of why this list is really fun, but still make it like better and able to win a little bit better kind of thing.
I think hilariously, it just needs that other distraction unit, doesn't it? I think having your home objective catered for and then swapping 2 Death Company Marines for another distraction dreadnought, I think suddenly will change like a huge portion of the army in the way that it plays. I think, your damage dealers are obviously going to be your Death Company Marines that will obviously begin to die, but the more they die, the better they get. So there's no issues there. With Oath of Moment as well, which I always forget how absolutely busted it is as an army rule, on top of everything else you're getting with the Lost Brethren detachment.
You don't need Oath of Moment with Death Company Marine. They reroll inbuilt.
There you go. I think, well, that's what you're using your Inceptors for, isn't it? Like, that's where it
they
comes
were.
into...
And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Death Company Dreadnought doesn't get the fancy Death Company reroll to hit. So I was always using Oath of Moment for the Inceptors, essentially.
Does it not?
I don't think the Death Company Dreadnought does. It's been a little while since I played this list.
Can you do us a favour and just check now? Because I think it would make for phenomenal content if you've been playing it for this long and didn't know.
I mean, I'll just lie. Just not tell you.
What is it, like a faction keyword or something?
The Death Company Dreadnought. Oh no, it does have Black Rage. You can reroll the hit roll. What? There's something that doesn't have the reroll hits. That was a Death Company unit. I can't remember what it was.
I feel like that doesn't make any sense.
No, so you've got...
that's the thing.
So just so we're clear, you could get some absolutely baller Death Company Dreadnought that's got reroll hits inbuilt, really, with his army rule. You've also got all of its melee weapons that have got twin link, so you're rerolling wounds as well. They're all strength 12, damage 3, and you were taking one of them and just letting them get shot off the board. Like, there's the issue. Just another one of these. I don't think 3 is worth it for that many points, but 2 at least, I think, would really match the theme and still be really strong.
I feel like in a previous balanced data slate they might have added it. I mean, I'm happy to be wrong, but
I can't wait for the comments on this.
We'll just say that that's what happened. But yeah, I think really just too many of the Death Company Marines for them not really doing anything makes sense. And just, another Death Company Dreadnought.
I think you said it yourself, like when they depend on a chaplain to make them good, but they're sat on the home objective with no OC and no chaplain there either. Like, it just feels like a misuse of points. And there's nothing wrong with it.
I know we've mentioned that obviously points are ridiculous at the moment and yada yada yada. All of that list currently is 1900 points. So there is another 100 points to play with. You could potentially fit another Death Company Dreadnought and maybe a tank in here.
Have you got any other characters that can go? Oh, how much is what's he called? Vampire guy.
Oh, Dante.
No, other one. The guy that looks like an emo lord.
Mephiston?
Yeah, that's the guy. How much is he points wise?
So currently Mephiston is 120 points because he's got some batshit loan up rules, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, smashed it. There you go. Boom. You've got it on brand, on theme.
Oh yeah, there you go. Right now, that would be about 2k points. So you got Asterath, Mephiston, Lamarty, Sanguinar, the Captain of Jump Pack, 5 Intercessors, your Death Company Marines, all of those. I still have the Inceptors, because whatever, figure out what to do with those. And then 2 Dreadnoughts. So like whatever we want to do for the Inceptors into tanks.
Well, to be honest, I think the Inceptors are going to be fine as is, because now we know that Death Company Dreadnoughts are actually quite good for 160 points. Yeah, I think for your action monkeys, I think they're solid.
So just based on that feedback, in the old Warhammer app, I've added Chief Librarian, Mephiston, and another Death Company Dreadnought, and I've left the Inceptors with the Plasma, and we're at 1,925 points.
Oh, there you go. Have you kept all the Death Company Marines in, or have you swapped a 5-man brick out for Assault Intercessors instead?
If I put some Assault Intercessors in, it is bang on 2k, like
really? Well, like on the nose, 2,000 points on the nose.
Yeah.
My God, we're good at this.
And I think the Inceptors are like kind of like a flex spot there of like, it's great for them having deep strike. If you have something else that has deep strike or can do that, sure. Or like, you drop 1 or 2 of them to put a tank or something like that. But I think this has a bit more cohesion kind of thing of like, you have your proper like brick moving with some fire support from the Dreadnoughts behind them and some action monkeys, and then a group just sitting on the back of Assault Intercessors, and like they're all kind of doing their thing a little bit better and are able to actually do their thing without just, having that one Dreadnought get shot before it can really do anything.
And what I think is great as well is that you don't change the theme. The theme is the same. Like, you stick with maybe like 90% of the models, and the only thing you have to do is paint another Dreadnought and paint Mephiston. Like,
we haven't done the switch to a knight.
This is no longer
the same list.
Crazy. Like, that's like I have this. It's coming with me.
Is quite a bit different.
I like the idea of the Inceptors being like a flexible double take as well. I mean, I've just taken 2 of them out and left 1 squad of interceptors in. So I've still got that like tactical bit of they can sit in the sky and come out. You can take 2 of them out and get a repulsor executioner and still have 20 points left over. I mean, repulsor executioner might not be the best fit there in terms of the army, but I think I could definitely fit a tank or maybe even 2 gladiators in place of those 3 interceptors.
The only thing I would say to that is that if you were to lose that 1 squad of interceptors, who's doing your actions?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes it's like just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's like the old Jeff Goldblum, but it's a real interesting balancing act. But I think that the overall list, I think, would perform a lot better with those, small iterations.
Okay, I feel like we might have fixed Death Company there. I mean, I'll have to paint some shit, but
I'm hopeful that like with some of these changes, like this might not be the best, most optimal, figured out Space Marine list ever, but it should be able to like properly play and win the game while still keeping a theme.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, the real sweet spot with Warhammer as well, isn't it? When you have something that you genuinely like and it works.
Yeah. So we've got a Space Wolves list as well.
yes. I was under no qualms about the Death Company one. It was fun, but I don't think it, like I said, didn't do a great deal. But this Space Wolves one, I'm convinced works, but I haven't won a great deal with it. So I guess this list is more, rather than fixing the whole list, is more, are there any glaring issues with it? So for this one, I was running Saga the Beast Slayer because lethal hits across the board is not to be sniffed at.
Saga the Beast Slayer, you have to hit sagas in order to get lethal hits across the board, right?
Yeah, so inbuilt you get lethal against characters, etc., just right out of the gate, and then as you go through the saga, you can then get lethal against everything else on the board. Character-wise, we've got our mate Jack, our Jack Rockfist, Logan Grimnar, Ragnar Blackmane, Wolf Priest, and then battle line is 20 Blood Claws, 10 Grey Hunters, 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, because why the fuck not, 6 Wolfguard Head Takers with Storm Shields, and then 10 Wolfguard Terminators, 1 squad with the shield, so they've got the extra wound, and then the other one is like the tactical weapons squad. So Ragnar and 20 Blood Claws feels like a non-optional at the moment. I feel like it does too much. I think the games I've played with it, I don't think I've ever needed all 20 Blood Claws, but I guess they're kind of like an insurance policy, aren't they? Like that no matter as someone's trying to kill, it's similar to the Death Company Marines, I guess, is that as someone's starting to kill this unit, there's still just more of them. You've still got plenty of output with them. I don't think Grey Hunters do a great deal for me. I think they're just Marines with slightly more OC.
And they're pretty expensive.
Yeah, bolt carbines as well, so they're not great range. So like all I've been doing with them is they sit on the back objective because no one's taking it off you when you've got a brick of 30 OC.
Yeah, I think it's a very heavy price to pay for something that there should be a much simpler fix. I think the biggest downside here is that your battle line units are so expensive. Yeah, like because normally you can take like units of 5 or something with like a more like utility unit, but because these are capped at 10, like it really gives you a bit of a head scratcher about where you are looking after your home objective, and spending 180 points to do that.
It's not good.
No, it's not.
Like, yeah, you own your home objective. Nobody's going to really waste any resources to that. But like, you can generally get away with something that's like half that cost. And most likely they're going, your opponent's going to have to commit a decent amount of resources to move even something that costs half that much.
And if you consider some of the missions in 10th edition as well, like aren't even based around the home objective anymore.
Right.
That suddenly like you're just spending 180 points for nothing. And I think, they probably kill like a few things like with their bolt carbines and stuff, like if you're killing chaff or whatever, but for 180 points to potentially not score that much, but also not kill that much either, I think that's probably the biggest red flag I can see.
I think the Grey Hunters are the thing in this list that needs changing. And I agree with what you're saying, that it's so many points just to hold an objective and just stay at the back. I mean, I guess my overall, the meanest in this list, the fluffiness, is the 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts and it's like an Ancients. It's, 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts and all the Terminators and the characters. That's the fun bit. And to be fair, I think I would potentially drop the Wolfguard Terminators that have got like a tactical loadout with the assault cannon and etc. and run a brick of 10 with Storm Shields, like getting that extra wound. And then like Wolfguard Terminators are unbelievable, like being -1 to wound if your strength is higher than their toughness, just built in, and to then give them an extra wound for the sake of a shield. I think they're like god tier for me in this list. They do so much work, and I think if I ran a brick of 10 with Storm Shields having all that, like I said, 40 wounds.
I think the biggest issue with that is with a 10-man brick and Logan, it's 450 points. That's such a heavy investment, and if you consider you've got 600 on Redemptors, with Ragnar as well, it's just shy of 400 as well. Suddenly you've only got 3 blobs, and you are, let's say, like if, when it comes down to it, if one of those units falls, suddenly you've only got... Do you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of chips to put on like a very few units.
Because like I'm totally on board with the like brick of 400 to 500 even points of Terminators that's like unkillable. I like that. That's cool. But when you're also having 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, it's like, where are we putting all these points? Like, it's a bit too much all there.
If you went for like a direct mirror match, if you played this list against itself, what I find really fascinating is that because of your Grey Hunters, the sheer weight of shots, I think you wouldn't be far pressed to take away most of the wounds on the head takers or the Terminators just because of sheer weight of shots. So I think one of the issues is survivability. Like, let's say because of obviously like Logan's rule and all the rest of it, you could probably get your 10-man brick of Terminators and Logan on the center objective in turn 1 or turn 2, right?
Or turn 1 because Logan's got the funky rule built in.
Perfect. So suddenly you've got 40 wounds with the Terminators alone with an inbuilt -1 to wound if your strength is higher. So suddenly from turn 1 you're like, come at me, bro, right?
I'm like that. I'm like that anyway, Kieran.
Sure, but you're running them in 2 units of 5, so it's clear that you're not. So with your with your head taker unit, like I think they're a really fun unit. I also think they're really good. And obviously with the Wolf Priest, it's very, very obvious. But again, like they're a bit easy to kill. And I think sometimes like that protection for them is good. But ultimately, like there's something I've noticed is that there's not a lot of direct anti-tank. Like I understand you get lethal hits against vehicles and all the rest of it. And I think that's obviously great. But, you know, I think sometimes where vehicles come in really handy is they also take out like heavy elite units as well. And like obviously like your Redemptors and stuff can do that. But even if it's like a humble Impulsor or something that guard those head takers, because they can't deep strike or anything, can they?
Don't believe so. They can do strategic reserves and they can play around with Logan's rule, but you're always spending that on like deep striking Terminators, truth told.
Yeah. I also think, is it worth the Wolf Priest as well? Like I know you can bring one back, but...
So the Wolf Priest thing for me, like, okay, he's got Magic Pseudocrem that brings them back on like a 2-up, like, no, it just brings one back every turn on 4 wounds, but because I think head takers have got a really interesting reputation, like they are, on paper, they are really good. Like, you know, picking a unit at the start of the game that you want to get precision and devastating wounds against, that like that's nasty. Because there's only six normal Marines, it's similar to anything really. Like when someone commits to killing them, they kill them. They're just Marines. Like the Wolf Priest rule doesn't come up for me.
Because like it's open knowledge. You've painted a target, and so like your opponent knows like, okay, they're gonna come at this kind of thing. Like I know what you're gonna do with that unit. I can deal with it whenever I need to deal with it, and until then it's not really that big of a problem.
I had a bit more success with them trying to play like almost like big brain moves. So you're like, okay, I want to kill that thing with them. Like they'll be really good against it, but then not picking that thing and picking something else. And then you go into that thing and then you can kind of swing around and get the thing you actually wanted.
Yeah, I think that for these kinds of units, it can be beneficial to try a little bit big brain at that aspect. Even if it's just like, I'm going to pick a unit and make sure that like the opponent either has to commit resources to dealing with the head takers, or they're going to have that unit move to the other side of the board. And so like that's like the real plan. That's like the whole goal there was to have that unit over on a different side. So like that can be something, but it's tough.
I think given their headhunter like quarry rule as well, I think is a really good one. Like to incorporate like dev wounds and precision on certain units. And I mean, like sure, you could probably incorporate it with your lethal hits if you wanted to go for those sorts of things. But if you've got your entire Space Wolf army that's getting lethals against, you know, characters, vehicles, and monsters, I think you want to try and double down with this as well. And because it like utilized the precision rule, and just try and kill some characters. And I don't know whether it's worth adding Ragnar to them, and so he gives them like the advance and charge. Like sure, like you've got, you know, like a vehicle tax or whatever to try and guard them, or that might be a little bit overkill. But I think that quarry rule is so good, and it's criminally underutilized if they just die immediately.
The trouble is though, Ragnar in 20 Blood Claws is just so good though. The fact that he just gives them all reroll the whole wound roll is wild.
It is, but is it overkill when you're spending 400 points on a blob?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. And I understand you get lethal hits, and I think sometimes it might be worth having either the 20-man Blood Claw unit on their own without Ragnar, or alternatively having 2 units of 10, because again, you're just splitting up that unit. I think if you didn't have the massive blob of Terminators in the middle, I'd probably suggest having Ragnar and the 20-man blob of Blood Claws, because that's your like, oh my goodness me, I need to deal with that. But at the moment, you've just got this brick in the middle that's currently outscoring, fighting whoever is coming anywhere near it, but ultimately it's probably not going to die until turn 3, turn 4 maybe at the latest, like if you're concentrating all of your fire on it. But then if you are doing that, you're then forgetting about your blood claws, you're forgetting about your redemptors, your head takers, all the rest of it. And suddenly there's a bit of a head scratcher. Who do I kill and who don't I kill?
I feel like you're talking me into dropping the Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I feel like that's the way this conversation's going.
Well, if you split the blood claws up, then you have a couple more units to move around, and having, because like you don't have that many units to react to your opponent that's doing something.
And what's interesting there as well, because you're not using the Wolf Priest and Ragnar, because of your enhancement that you had in the Wolf Priest, you've now got 200 points spare. So you could spend that on another unit. And I think the Redemptors have probably got a place. I think I'd just pile, because how many Saga of the Beast Slayers? You have to kill like half of the amount of characters, vehicles, monsters they've got, right?
You take a total at the start and then you half it, round up, and that's what you got to kill to get lethals across everything.
It is tough because like at a certain point, you've already kind of won.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've already killed most of their shit. I guess I'll do it better now.
And with Oath of Moment as well. Let's not forget that.
Right?
It's just absolutely ridiculous. So what's your like big damage dealers? Because I suppose that's the next question. Like you've got all this stuff that can stick around for a while or kill certain things or whatever that's got precision and lethal, whatever. Your Redemptors, what's the max damage that they can do?
So the Plasma Incinerators, they do work. Whether I need 3 of them, I don't know, but it's cool. They've done a lot of work for me before. They've popped a Repulsor Executioner just on their own, just from Plasma Incinerators.
How much is a Repulsor Executioner points-wise?
210 at the moment, I believe, or might be 220 at the moment.
So it sounds good on paper, but you've spent
Don't
600 points doing it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's such a heavy burden, but like I do think dropping a Redemptor in place of a Land Raider and giving those head takers a party bus to come up the board in, and then you've got your Land Raider, which has got las cannons, which is guaranteed to kill something. Yeah, I just think it's a better use of point.
And I do actually still like 2 Dreadnoughts in this list.
Yeah.
It's just a question of like that third one.
I'm going to bring it back here. If you didn't have Ragnar and the Wolf Priest, technically you can still run 3.
Yeah.
So
you can't drop Ragnar. He's just too good.
Yeah, that feels wrong.
Where'd you put him then?
He's got to go in the blood claws. Like just the inbuilt reroll of wounds. You can't shake a stick at that.
Okay, so are you doing the blood claws in a 10-man unit or a 20-man unit still?
I feel like I'm going to try that next time I play this list. I think I'm going to split them into 2 sets of 10, but leave Ragnar in one of them, just to see if it does give me that flexibility, like we're saying, to just go, I need to go and stop my opponent doing an action, sabotage, or whatever comes up, rather than having to shift a whole unit over to do it.
Sure. So let's say you've removed the Grey Hunter unit for a Land Raider, let's say, as an equivalent, which seems like an absolutely insane trade-off, but it is what it is. You've then got your Wolf Priest at 90 points, which you could remove. Who looks after your home objective for a similar points cost?
That's keeping in with the theme.
What about Wolf Scouts?
Yeah, we haven't seen their 40k profile yet. That could be quite nice. It's also the opposite of what Scouts do, though, but...
It doesn't matter. Like, you only need something cheap to sit on the home objective.
I mean, the BS answer is a squad of infiltrators.
Infiltrators? What? No. It's way too many
What's
points.
the point of having that extra like 20 points for an infiltrator as opposed to just getting like an assault intercessor?
Yeah, exactly. So currently a scout squad is 70 points. So if you had a wolf scout squad that's, let's say, 10, 15 points more, that's still only 85. I don't think it will be that, but you've got still a thematic list with scouts sat on the home objective. And then running up, you have got, so Logan and 10 Terminators sat with a total of 40. How many wounds is Logan Grimnar? Like 6, maybe? 6, 7? 6, 7? Oh, God, I hate myself. But yeah, so
he is 8 wounds.
He's 8. That's the same. I also was like, it's probably like 7, right?
Yeah, well, Kieran was rotting the brain of everyone listening to this. Yeah.
So nearly 50, that's 50 wounds nearly on the center objective turn 1, which is grim. You've got Arjak Rockfist literally just running around bonking stuff with his hammer. He does not care. Let him do what he wants to do. Ragnar with a 10-man unit of Blood Claws. You've then got another 10-man to go with it. You've got a Wolf Scout squad sat on the home objective. You've got 3 Redemptors. You've got a Land Raider. You've got your 6 Head Takers ready to kill whatever they need to as well. Suddenly, it's a very different list.
But it also, like, it isn't. The core of the list is still a bunch of dreads. And you still got, like, Blood Claws and you're doing Terminator stuff. And, like, it's very obviously the same list, just with a little bit more potential to, like, actually accomplish the goals that each unit was trying to do.
Yeah, I feel like the DNA of this list, I think, was slightly better than the Death Company one that we just did.
You say that. I think the only thing that's then holding this back is the Action Monkey thing. For your secondaries, I think would be slightly limiting. I think the scouts could probably do one thing, obviously because they're holding the home objective, like it would have to be kind of situational, but you might end up having to use those blood claws as your action monkeys instead.
If they're in 2 10-man units as well, like I guess having them as an actionable.
It's not optimal to have, them being used as action monkeys essentially, because like optimally you would want them killing shit, but like at least it is an option really at a 10-man, as opposed to like when it was a full 20 with support, it's like that you never ever want to have them do action.
I guess late game, where like when people have like, for example, if someone's popped down late game and taken your home objective, I guess that backup unit of just 10-man just to score those late points.
Truthfully, I think they're going to have much bigger fish to fry if you've got 50 wounds on the home objective, a party bus full of head takers and 3 redemptors running up the centre. And then to make matters worse, you've got 2 units of 10 blood claws, one of which has Ragnar, running down either flank to capitalise even more, whether that's through actions or just killing the last of units.
Where's the 50 wounds on the home objective coming from?
Not home objective, centre objective. Sorry, my bad.
Your Terminator blob.
Trust me, if you're chucking 10 Wolfguard Terminators and Logan, that suddenly becomes your home objective. This is my house.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like the obvious one here is amalgamating those 2 sets of Wolfguard Terminators and running them as a 10-man with the shields. I guess Logan or Arjak with them, depending on the matchup. I think...
No, it has to be Logan.
You'd put Arjak on his own.
Yeah, I would put him on his own because nobody's...
He gives fight on death.
It does not matter. Honestly, I think given for what you want those Terminators to do, it probably won't come up very often because nobody in their right mind is charging a brick with 50 wounds.
That's a good point, actually.
It can be done if you have your own brick, but then both players understand that half of their list is being done in the center and are just playing a 1K game around it.
Exactly. I see that as either Kieran playing against somebody that's got 8-bound spam and they're both like rolling a million dice, or somebody, who's just going to be shooting them from afar and just trying to take them off.
I feel like that matchup would be what's the slapping game where you slap each other in the face and it's the first one to like fall over? I feel like those into 8-bound would be the epitome of that, but at a Warhammer table. Go on, hit me, your turn.
You're such an orc player, it's unbelievable.
I do really vibe with ditching the Grey Hunters for a Land Raider, though.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's crazy to me that that's a direct swap. It's crazy.
I think having some way to move the head takers around opens up a lot more, especially with their headhunters or whatever its ability is called.
Also, the Grey Hunters isn't a direct swap. They're 180, a Land Raider is 210 or 220. So there's only 40 points in it, but we're arguing over nothing there. I think the head takers, I don't vibe with the Storm Shield. I don't think the 4-Binville comes up because, like I said, when people commit to killing them, they kill them, so it didn't really come up that much.
I mean, really, you want them to try and trade out as much as you can. The head takers are gonna die eventually.
Yeah, I think swapping them to like the Akimbo swords, just because when you start to then lose them, you don't lose so much weight in attacks. Like you've still got another guy to pick up the slack, for example, if like 2 die, you've still got quite a good weight of attacks. It doesn't blunt them as much.
Yeah, well, I think to have 2 more attacks per head taker, suddenly it goes up quite considerably, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you factor in Oath of Moment and lethals and all that other gubbins, it can get quite spicy.
I think so, because what would that be then? 36 attacks with Oath of Moment, so let's say like best case scenario here, so 36 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling. You've then got lethal hits against vehicles, characters, or whatever. You've also got dev wounds and precision. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all at AP2 damage. You're just mincing at that point. You're just completely obliterating whatever you want.
I mean, be right back. I need to go and buy the Kill Team Dead Silence set. I need their scouts.
And another Redemptor.
Just always another Redemptor.
That's the answer to all of life's issues.
It's interesting, actually, when you said before you've got 20 Wolfguard Terminators. I think that would be quite a fun list to do in the future, but I'm not sure how you'd work it.
I think you'd trade them for the Blood Claws. I think that'd be a fun list. I think you'd have to trade the Blood Claws.
I'd have to see what the new scout stuff, like rules and points, are actually going to be. I feel like they would be necessary to like actually do stuff on the board.
They're just running around like, keep him in the game, the boys are in the middle.
I've played with just like maxed out Terminators. It is fun. You lose on points. It's like they just outscore you just because like they ignore your stupidity and go win with secondary objectives and actions and shit. And you're just sitting at the end like, yeah, most of my units are still here. That was cool.
I had fun.
Yeah.
A time was had.
Yeah, I think that was like like those are our example lists kind of thing. Hopefully talking through that gave some idea and some like inspiration for like how you can tweak the lists a little bit
/ buy more
while
kits.
maintaining the core theme and style ideas. Because like, yeah, you could just go and figure out, you know, whatever list just won a big tournament. I'll just do that. But like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Take the lists that you enjoy, that you're like, this is awesome. I want to play these units. I want to do this theme. And then just, you know, look at it and figure out where it needs to be tweaked a bit.
Just because a list won at a certain tournament does not mean you know how to play it just because it won. I think that's always really important. Like, take something that you want to do, learn what it does, and then just practice.
I mean, if you take anything away from these lists, my whole mantra in life is cool guys run 3.
Mantra in life. What else are you doing in life where you're taking 3?
That's a different episode.
Oh no, that's bonus content.
Kieran after dark.
All right. Yeah, I think that's about it for this episode, unless there was any last minute ideas you wanted to bring up.
No, I feel like all of my life problems have been fixed publicly on the internet.
Well, I mean, I think what's really important is that we'll see you again for another episode where Kieran buys too many Ultramarines and we have to have this conversation again.
We can have that conversation now.
Thank you, Kierans, for joining on this one, and definitely take a look at their channel. They've got some cool stuff coming out. They've got a bunch of cool videos previously, but particularly one about a combat patrol with a bunch of emotions, I guess.
A bunch of emotions is the best sum up, yeah.
Yeah, if you like 2 grown men crying over plastic miniatures, then yeah, that's the one for you.
The end result looks beautiful, though, so...
Fire Truck Imperial Guard might disagree with you. Just using a whole tub of Bile Red to speed through it was not my finest hour, but we got there.
So yeah, definitely take a look at the Kieran Show. And yeah, normal YouTube pleasantries, like, comment, subscribe. Just same for the Kieran Show when you're over there taking a look.
Hype, apparently that's a thing now. Hype is a thing, because we're all 5.
Yeah, I don't really understand that, but if there's hype it. Well,
Nice.
we've got merch, poorhammer.com. Take a look. We've also got the Patreon, patreon.com/SlowlySingleton, where you can join great patrons like I Just Nuked My Pants and support the show. Oh, great.
The pause was everything.
Yeah, so that's about it. You guys have any shout outs that you want to do?
No.
Me? Good job, me.
Most people, when they go on to like famous things, they like shout out their parents, but I absolutely know my mum's not listening to this.
That's probably for the best.
She's like, Kieran's spending all of his pocket money on this.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see you in a follow-up where I've bought Wolf Scouts and a Land Raider.
Hell yeah.
And won a GT.
Definitely going to try and get you guys to paint another army for us, maybe.
Can it be Space Marines this time? You know, I'll be into that.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. Thanks for joining, and take care.
Bye.
See ya.